I want to talk to you about barbells. The barbell is the single most important piece of strength equipment that you will ever purchase. Without it, you're not going to be able to lift the round discs or plates that go on the end of the bar. Surely you can strength train with other implements, dumbbells, kettlebells, etc. But if you want to get involved in powerlifting, Olympic weightlifting, or just general strength and conditioning for fitness at some point in time in your life, you're going to need to pick up a barbell. Today I want to talk to you about all things barbell, from the specifications, the costs, the weights, the pros, the cons, the advantages, disadvantages, and lastly how to care for them. This is going to be a video that's going to be divided into several pieces, so I'm going to be able to zoom in on some of these barbells and show you up close and personal some of the specs. Generally speaking, when you go into any commercial gym or around the world, a generic barbell is going to be 7 feet long from end to end, okay? It's going to be 29 millimeters thick. There are going to be some variations from barbell to barbell, but generally speaking, the barbell is going to be 29 millimeters thick. That's the distance around the bar when you grab it. And lastly, the distance between these rings here, also called your power rings, is typically 32 inches or 81 centimeters. In powerlifting, that's the maximum grip width you can take in the bench press. It's index fingers on the power rings. What I'm going to do now is zoom in on some of these bars and show you the differences between the bars as far as specifications, weights, etc. What I want to do now is zoom in on each of these barbells and just kind of give you a crash course in each one of them. These 5 barbells that are in front of me are entirely appropriate for powerlifting and just general strength training and conditioning. We're going to get into some weightlifting specific bars for the Olympic movements in a few moments, but for right now I just want to talk to you about these pretty standard power bars or powerlifting bars. Each one of these barbells in front of me weighs 20 kilos, 44 pounds. They're all 7 feet long, and I just want to talk to you about the slight variations and differences of each one. The one on top here is made by York Barbell Company up in York, Pennsylvania. This is a very generic and standard barbell that you're going to find in most commercial gyms. It retails for about $300. It's 29 millimeters thick. This is just a decent all-around bar that you're going to find in a lot of commercial gyms. Moving on to number 2. This bar is made by Alico. Alico is a Swedish barbell company that makes barbells and plates. This, in my opinion, is probably the Rolls-Royce of bars. It's the single most expensive bar we have in the gym. It retails for approximately $1,100 the last time I checked. You'll notice it's got a chrome finish. This bar is also 29 millimeters thick. One of the differences that you're going to notice between the Alico and between the York and some of the other bars that we're going to get to, this portion of the barbell right here is known as the sleeve. That is where you load the plates. You'll notice that this piece between the actual sleeve of the bar and the actual bar itself that you're grabbing is pretty thin. That's about a ½ inch or just over ½ inch. When you get up into this York, you're approaching 2 inches. Down here on the Ivanko is 1.5 inches. The Q bar is 1 inch, and the York Power Bar, or the Texas Power Bar is a full 2 inches. What the more narrow piece here is going to afford you the opportunity to do is load more plates on the sleeve and get the plates in closer to the lifter, closer to your center of gravity. What does that mean? Ultimately, when you're lifting maximum weights, it's going to maximize your center of gravity, allow you to manage it a little bit better. And ultimately, when you're talking about lifting 100% plus, I think it makes a difference, and you're going to be able to lift more weight on a bar that has a more narrow piece here than a wider piece. The Alico, again, is an extremely stiff bar. It's extremely expensive. It's not going to bend or flex until you get into some really super heavy weights. Again, all around, in my opinion, probably the best bar that we own for powerlifting and general strength training. This next bar is the black oxide bar. called the OBX. It's made by Ivanco. You'll notice on this particular bar, which is very confusing to most novices, it's got 3 sets of rings here. 1, 2, and 3. The only ring that you really need to be concerned with is this center ring right here, okay? That is equal to the main power ring up here on this barbell, and again down here on the Ivanco. So the middle one is the only one you need to be concerned with. For novice lifters, that can be quite confusing. They'll walk up to the barbell, grab hold, and they don't know which rings to set their grip on. But really just aim for the one in the middle. This bar is outstanding for deadlifting. It's thinner. It's 28 millimeters thick. It does have some flex to it. It does have a little bit of whip to it, which means when you deadlift and you're breaking the bar from the floor, the bar is actually going to bend first before the actual plates come off the floor. But all in all, because this bar is thinner, you're going to be able to pull a more maximum weight with that. These bars, the Eleiko, the Ivanco, and the next one that I'm going to get into, which is the Q bar, all 3 of these bars are IPF certified. That's the International Powerlifting Federation. These 3 bars right here are all going to be allowed on competition platforms around the world for the IPF. This bar down here, the Q bar, is sold by Sherman Ledford, my good friend down at Quest Nutrition in Georgia. The Q bar has got a fantastic knurling on it. It's gritty, allows you to get a good grip. It's also a stiff bar. It's not going to flex very much. It comes in 2 versions. The training version, which retails for $320, and then the competition version, which retails for $568. Going back to the Ivanco for just a second, that bar retails for about $660. Okay? Lastly, you've got the Texas Power Bar down here. We purchased ours from Elite FTS. It's going to retail for roughly between $325 and $350, depending on who you buy it from. Again, it's got a wider piece here between the sleeve and between the bar. This bar does flex a lot. It's quite whippy as well. It also is 28 millimeters thick, which means it's a little bit thinner, good for deadlifting, just a really good all-around bar. So as you can see, you've got 5 different type of barbells here that meet the standard specifications of most barbells, and so that pretty much sums up the power bars. Just to summarize, the 5 power bars that we have behind me: York, Eleiko, Ivanco, the Q bar, and the Texas Power Bar. All of these bars are 7 feet long. The diameters do differ from 28 millimeters at the thinnest, which is the Ivanco, to 29 millimeters at the thickest on the Eleiko and the York. All these bars are entirely applicable for powerlifting movements and general strength training movements. I'm going to go ahead and do another video on the Olympic weightlifting bars, as well as specialty bars, and how to care for them. But the bottom line is you don't want to skimp on your barbells. It's probably the single most important piece of equipment that you're ever going to purchase. If you have a good barbell and a power rack, you can pretty much do anything you need to do in the world of strength training.